All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, February the 21st, 2023. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
Happy Mardi Gras.
Happy
Fat Tuesday.
Happy Fat Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras, everybody.
And I'm celebrating Mardi Gras because I am fat on a Tuesday.
There you go. Oh, aren't we all? Aren't we all? And look, today I'm Marty and you're Gras.
I am.
All right.
Foie gras?
Hold on. We could do this too. And we could be
Gras Marty.
Gras Marty.
That doesn't sound quite right.
There you go.
Tuesday fat.
Tuesday.
Yeah, that sounds like a checklist. Monday, fat. Tuesday, fat. Wednesday, fat. Thursday, fat.
Exactly. So, what have you done so far on this Fat Tuesday?
Worked, ate, drank, worked. Oh, we had a meeting at work, and the client and our vendors took us out to lunch. That was nice.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And I had an Aperol spritz, so that wasn't very Mardi Gras-ish.
An Aperol spritz. Yeah, no, that's not very Mardi Gras-ish.
No.
Unless somebody gave you beads and you flashed them while you were drinking the Aperol spritz.
No one would do that.
Maybe they give you beads to stop flashing them.
Very possible. That's funny because I didn't see any weirdness in New York City on my commute home. It's usually on things like this you get a bit of weirdness.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess no one's really celebrating in New York City. I do know that St. Patrick's Day falls on a Friday this year, and there's no way I'm going into the office.
No, you really shouldn't.
No, you wind up just stepping over puddles of all kinds of
bodily fluids.
Yes, things that have come out of human beings or what were once human beings.
Right.
So. Yeah, it's severe amateur hour in the city on St. Patrick's Day.
This is very true. True. So
I will be working from home that day.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah, and then of course, this being a year that St. Patrick's Day falls on a Friday, I'm sure at some point we will get a special dispensation to be able to consume meat on that particular Friday.
Yes, because as long as they say it's okay, you won't go to hell for it.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So,
never kind of understood that.
So, hey, is what it is. But in any event, on that note, it is also something else today, right?
Oh yeah, it's Peace Symbol Day.
Happy National Peace Sign.
I told you sign, didn't I? But
you told me
Peace Symbol. It's actually.
I can.
This is the peace sign.
Right.
This is the peace symbol. So this is like the first time that the peace. It's a very badly drawn one, but
how's that better?
There we go.
All right.
So it was. I forget how long ago this. It had to be almost probably older than we are. Probably just as old as I am, maybe. Because it had to be during the Summer of Love or somewhere maybe before that. I don't know, but it's definitely obviously came about in the '60s and published, but it was on this day that many years ago.
Well, there you go.
So,
there you go.
So peace.
Happy National Peace. Happy Peace Symbol Day. No, National
Peace Symbol Day.
That's just Peace Symbol Day.
And congratulations on spelling it right.
There you go. Yes. Well, I was going to put PIECE intentionally, but I figured, screw it, whatever.
Let's do things right. Let's get on above board because we got to do everything above board, John.
We do have to do everything above board.
Do you know what above board came from? What it meant?
Why don't you tell me?
So. In medieval times, castles and all that.
In the restaurant Lyndhurst?
No, not that one. I'll be going there in about a month, actually. Right. But there was the board, and below the board is where the commoners sat and all that, and above board is where all the gentry sat, the lords, the ladies, the knights, so to speak. They sat above board, above the board. So that's what above board means.
Above board.
Which is an appropriate conversation today, because apparently we have royalty with us.
We do.
Well, royalty. Well, I don't know. Are knights royalty?
Well, why not?
They're gentry. They're definitely gentry.
They're definitely gentry. So
yes,
they're above board one way or the other.
They're definitely above board.
Exactly. So why don't we welcome to the show, please. Excuse me, Sir Tony Forder.
Or Tony Forder's fingers.
Hi, guys. Where are we?
Oh. We are looking at your fingers.
Okay, how's that?
There we go. Much
Yeah,
Now
better.
you're looking at me.
Yes.
All right.
There we are. There's the
So Tony Ford, a proprietor of Limetree Roadside PubCafe. There he is, right there.
Nice.
So yeah, before we get into the knighthood, I don't really go by sir every day. I mean, first mention is fine, but just a regular guy. So
I
you
know
guys,
Sir Tony's got a really nice ring to it. I like that.
I like Sir
yeah,
Tony.
I kind of like it too, but I don't want to get carried away with it. But
Well,
why
I mean,
not?
just before I forget, I got a Mardi Gras story.
Oh, please.
Because I mean, it actually Mardi Gras. It is Tuesday Fat because the French always flip things.
Yes, this is true.
Backwards, right? It should really be Gras Mardi, Fat Tuesday.
Yeah, Marty is Tuesday, and
Yeah,
Gras is Fat.
that's
So
right,
yeah.
right.
So it should
yeah.
be Gras Marty for Fat Tuesday.
It really should. But so one of our first trips, in fact, the first trip that Ale Street News did to Belgium was in 1996, and we went to a brewery called La Binchoise. I don't know if you remember that beer. They had some very nice. They had the Beer de Noël. They kind of petered out, but back in the 90s, it was very nice, and it had quite a fruity flavor. In fact, it had this a lot of the beers had this orangey flavor. Now, this town of Binge is sort of a capital of Mardi Gras. They have the International Carnival and Mask Museum in the town, which has masks from like all over the world, going back, centuries, really. But they have this interesting tradition during their parade of Gras Mardi, where everyone throws oranges at each other.
Okay.
So
curious.
It is curious, yeah, and it's quite painful, probably too.
Dave, if only you were here, I'd throw an orange at you to make you.
Thank you. Just for tradition's sake.
Just for tradition's sake.
So yeah, and well, that was our first excursion into Belgium.
Interesting. Which is foreshadowing the conversation to be forthcoming regarding the knighthood. So
yeah, I was bestowed with the honorary knighthood of the Brewers Paddle by the Belgian Brewers Federation, and I think the reason that it was bestowed was, like I said, no, I didn't say. I said to you guys, it's a recognition of people that have helped the Belgian brewing industry, and the American. There were quite a few honorees this year. It takes place in Belgian Beer Weekend, which is the first weekend in September.
Right.
And they have a festival in the Grand Place in Brussels. And it's a lot of poems. They parade around town. They take this keg up to the cathedral where the bishop blesses the keg. And then they have speeches. And the prime minister was there this year or last year.
Very nice.
And there were 6 inductees from, I think there were about 20 inductees because they didn't do it for 2 years because of COVID.
Right. And
there were half a dozen from the U.S. One of my fellow inductees was Garrett Oliver.
That's good company.
Quite sure, what his contributions to Belgian beer have been exactly, but obviously he's made huge contributions to the whole global craft brewing industry. And then there are people that have they quite often honor distributors and salespeople that have worked a lot. There was a lady who was the head beer buyer for Whole Foods out of Austin, Texas, who got knighted.
Interesting.
There were 2 or 3 ladies.
Interesting.
And the organization, if you've been to Brussels, if anyone's been to Brussels, they have the museum there. They have their building right in the Grand Place, and so that's where the knighting takes place, and then they open up the beer festival. And it's a lot of pageantry, and the organization is over 200 years old. So
wow,
I thought it was cool.
It was really cool. It was very cool. It was very nice. No, and you mentioned before John Hall is also a recipient of that.
Yeah, he said he was over there judging competition. I mean, I don't know what he's done specifically for the Belgian brewing industry, but he's a man of many talents and writings. And so he was there I guess they used to do it like maybe a couple of times a year. They have the Brussels Brewers Challenge, I think, which is just a competition, not a festival. So he was over there judging that, and apparently said, "Oh, they decided to invite some people." So he was recommended by someone, and he had no idea it was going to happen. It just kind of sprang it on him. I had I was told ahead of time and everything. I was prepared for it. So, but he was like, "Wow, what really what?"
Very nice.
So we need to refer to him as Sir as well.
Sir John.
Sir Hall.
Sir Hall.
Sir Hall.
Sir Hall.
Sir Hall. Sir Hall.
Sounds like more like a curse word.
So I asked how many.
They've
been doing this for the honorary knighthoods. They have regular knighthoods which they give to Belgian brewers and Belgian family people, but the honoraries that have been mostly European. I think it was Australian as well. But that's been going on about 20 years. So I asked the master of ceremonies guy, how many he thought Americans have been knighted, and he said, "Oh, probably about 70."
Oh wow,
nice.
Well, very nice.
So
very, very nice. We got one comment on here really quick. Steve J. Rogers commented, "You guys go to the Brewsology in Jersey City a couple of weeks ago." Yes, we did.
Yeah,
Steve, we were there.
How was that?
It was good. It was good. It was a good beer fest. It was well run. I thought it was very well attended.
It was.
And
was it at the Liberty Museum?
At the Liberty Science Center? Yeah. They had all the booths were set up amongst all of the displays and everything else, so you can actually visit them while you walked around and drank your beer, and had your beer. So
that's cool.
It was pretty.
They did a fest like that in Philly at the University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
And then these were in Michael Jackson's show, and they did it amongst the exhibits too. Some of these like really old artifacts. I thought this could possibly not end well,
Yeah, that's bravery personified there. That's some serious optimism.
That's for sure.
Anyway, just back briefly to the Belgian Beer Weekend. I had such a good time there that we decided to take our tour group back there this year, and so that is going to be our Belgian tour. We usually go in the spring for the Z+ Festival, but this year we're going to go for the Belgian Beer Weekend
in September. Very nice.
Yeah. Well, we're leaving last week in October. We're going to tour around and finish with the Belgian Beer Weekend. And sorry, guys, it's sold out already.
Anytime. Not a worry.
I think most of my days are used up already.
There you go. Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on this year too.
Yeah.
What? Just out of curiosity, before we get any further, what are you guys drinking? Tony, what are you drinking?
I am drinking a Stone IPA. Believe it or not, it's not really. All right, just true disclosure here, full disclosure. The wife bought it, and that's what's in the fridge. So
there you go.
It's a classic.
All good. That works.
I will be transitioning to something else shortly.
Fair enough. Dave, you are consuming
Garden Brewing Springs Shower.
Springs Shower, not spring showers. Springs Shower.
Sure, there's a story behind it. There's always a story.
There is a story behind everything.
But this is
what color is it here?
Oh, no,
it's kind of golden.
It's culture colored. It's straw colored. It comes off a little darker on the screen.
There you go.
But it is straw colored. It's got 10 hops. And this one, he says, pairs very well with shaking off a disco nap.
Very nice.
Hey. I'm sure there's a story behind that as well.
There's another one that he does. I just for some reason recall something. Smith sauce. It pairs well with crisp linen and a cool breeze.
I can probably say that about any beer, though.
Yeah.
Pretty.
So restaurant, tablecloth, crisp linen. I don't know.
Crisp linen, cool breeze. Yeah, I guess.
On the coast. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
It works. All right. I'm enjoying some ounces of Coastal Feathers.
Icarus,
collab with Icarus and
those guys
from Coastal Brewworks there.
Which, incidentally, at the Brewsology had the longest line continuous through pretty much the whole festival.
Mm-hmm.
So it was at least 20 people on the line pretty much at all times until about half an hour left of the festival.
Mm-hmm. And even then, it only went down to about 15.
Yeah.
So it's a good beer fest. Anyway, okay, Tony. So what? Where? Okay, you're still running your. You're still. I just want to transition into this. You're still running your. You're still running your tour group.
Mm-hmm.
Where are some of the other places you're going other than the Belgian Beer Week that you're going?
We're focusing on the Ardennes area.
Okay.
So breweries like La Chouffe.
Nice.
Christian La Chouffe, he was really my sponsor for the knighthood. You know, he was the one that put my name forward. We've been friends for quite a while.
Nice.
And so we've been to his brewery at least 3 times on our tours, but not for a while. So Chouffe, Orval, not sure if we can really get into the brewery right now. We have been there before, but talking with the importer, Merchant de Van, they said they really, a lot of places, especially the monks, have kind of drew back a little bit during COVID, and they haven't really sort of reopened yet. They do have an open day where anyone can visit the brewery if you sign up, but that is, unfortunately, that's like a couple of weeks after we're there. So, but there's a couple of new places. There is a brewery named where is it? Atrium, Brasserie Atrium, which is a French person and a Brazilian who teamed up, and I've been hearing good things about them. So that's down in the on the way down into the Ardennes area. We're actually going to be taking in 2 beer festivals when we arrive. August 27th. That's the Brussels Beer Festival, or the BXL Beer Festival, which is sort of an invitational, smaller beer festival. So we'll get that on the way in, and we get the Belgian Brewers Weekend on the way out, which is all the more traditional brewers, you know, that set up in the Grand Place.
Sure.
And, so
awesome, very nice.
Yeah.
So all right, well, and of course it's sold out though.
It is, yeah. I'm working directly with Greg Dennis from Short Hills Tours. He's always run our tours in the past,
right?
And so, but we have, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of repeat people, and I was surprised how fast it.
That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's a big happy family.
Very nice. Very nice. You so what's new? What's new at the Limetree Roadside PubCafe?
Well, it's sort of hibernating a little bit during the winter because it's based on the farm up in Warwick.
Sure. I'll put the ticker up. Hold on. There you go.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, the website is still active. That's been hibernating a little bit too because I've been buried deep back in the 1990s with the book I'm doing. I don't know if I told you about that last time I was on.
You mentioned something that you were going to be, but you didn't.
All right. So I started last winter, and then, you know, summer activities are more farm related for me, and but I got back to it this winter, and it's taking shape. So it's basically about the early days of craft beer, you know, the emergence of craft beer, with a heavy focus on, you know, the Northeast through the eyes of Ale Street News and stuff. So my office here is lit up with back issues, and it's been you know, quite a trip down
memory lane,
and it's very interesting to you know, see a lot of the issues that you know are you know, it's like, you know, things just go around. They get tired, and then they come back, and you know, it's a very cyclical thing. This beer, like, so notice that lagers are popular again. Right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
I'm loving it.
I'm loving every minute of that. Hence why I'm drinking this right here. So,
drinking.
You're drinking your
Kolsch, and I'm moving to a Tomavi Pivo after this. So.
There you go. So there you go.
But yeah, I'm still being traveling a bit. You guys mentioned St. Patrick's Day. I gave you 3 guesses as to where I'm going to be on St. Patrick's Day, and it's at a beer festival, and it's not in the U.S.
Are you going to be in Dublin?
Nope.
Okay, that's one guess.
All right, you're going to be at a beer fest in Munich.
No.
All right, I took a shot because Dublin was my guess.
But. Well, either of us in this country.
Good guess. I don't know if I want to be in Dublin on St. Patrick's Day.
I don't think I would be in
Dublin. To be honest, it's probably crazier over here than it is there.
It probably is. Yeah,
I've heard that. Unless you're in
I'm going to be at the
Temple Bar area.
I'm going to be at the Ensenada Beer Festival in Baja, Mexico.
Oh wow!
You could have given us 300 guesses, Tony. I don't think we would.
That would have been I would have said my living room before I said Baja, Mexico. So.
I've been once before, and it's a very good fest, actually. That's kind of a hot spot in Baja, and they get quite a few San Diego breweries go down there for the fest as well.
Nice, very nice, very nice. At first, I thought you were going to say you were going to be up in Pearl River for the.
That's always
for the St. Patrick's Day parade up there.
That's a place I would avoid also on St. Patrick's.
Yeah, it's I got to be honest with you. I have some familiarity with it, but it's the biggest parade in the States for St. Patrick's Day is in it's Atlanta, Georgia, isn't it?
Or is it Savannah?
Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah, I've heard about that. My brother-in-law partner in Hill Street had a relative, friend who had a relative who had a bar in Savannah, and they used to go down there and pour beer on St. Patrick's Day.
True.
He said it was just.
Oof. But it's like Savannah, Georgia is like number 1, and like Boston's number 2, and Pearl River, New York is actually bigger than New York City.
Yes,
it
is.
Or New York City's 2, and Pearl River's bigger than Boston.
Yeah,
one or the other.
Yeah, Pearl River is bigger than Boston.
After New York City.
So then New York City, then Pearl River. Yeah, but
you know why Boston's isn't as big?
Because Boston isn't as big.
Well, not only that is by the time the parade starts, they're already all drunk.
Mm-hmm.
So this
is true.
Are we talking number of people or a bit size
number
of the parade?
Number of people, not size of the parade. Size of the parade. No, size of the parade. I mean, there's plenty of parades that are bigger than Pearl River. Pearl River's parade is like 5 blocks long.
Yeah.
But no, it's a number of people that attended. There's usually like 200,000 people that attend the parade in Pearl River.
Yeah, I was just up in Pearl River for the Abominable Snowfest.
Abominable Snowfest. I saw the picture of you, Chris. Neil and
there were quite a few OGs, old faces.
And of course, OG stands for
original.
Gangster. Right. Original.
No,
not old guy. Original. Right.
Yeah.
No. Like there's 3 OGs right here. So there you go.
Yeah.
I've been dealing with a lot of OGs doing this going back into the 1990s. I can't believe it's 30 years ago.
I know. It's gone by fast, and it's getting faster and faster and faster every year.
Right? I always thought it was like we were getting towards the end of the millennium, and that's why things were getting faster. But it's not true.
I've got a theory as to why that happens. Is because if you remember when you were a kid, summer break was forever. It seemed like forever.
Summer break, oh yeah.
But you got to remember, those 3 months were it was a large percentage of the life you had already lived. So every year becomes a smaller and smaller percentage of your life.
Yep, I came to the same realization.
Right.
Oh no, that's exactly what it is. I mean, obviously, 3 months is always 3 months.
3 months,
right?
It's just relative to the rest of your life.
When you're 5 years, old, a year is 1/5 of your life. When you're 50 years old, 1 year is 1/50th of your life. So.
Yeah, somebody likened it to the toilet roll phenomenon when the toilet roll goes kind of slow at the beginning and it goes really fast at the end.
Right. Exactly.
But the paper is actually, it's like on an LP where the center is going the outside is going exponentially faster than the center.
Right.
We're getting into physics.
Several ways to
it's physics. Yeah, I was told I was told there would be no math on this show.
No, that is one of the rules. There's no mathing allowed on the show.
Well, time is relative, right? Like, let's
Exactly.
And your relatives will make time go really slow.
Time is irrelevant.
Spend time with them.
It's relatively irrelevant.
It's relatively irrelevant, right? Exactly. So
apparently this glass wasn't very.
But I actually have an anniversary, not just 30 years. I have a longer anniversary this year. Actually, I have a 50-year anniversary this year.
50-year anniversary this year.
And it's not a wedding. That's almost as long. Almost marriage is almost that long, but not quite. That was 50 years since I first set foot in America, actually.
Oh, wow. 50 years.
Wow.
1973, I came over here from England and hitchhiked around the country in 1973.
Mm-hmm. You could do that in 73. Don't try that.
You could. Hundreds of people were doing it. Yeah.
Yes. That was a major mode of transportation.
Thousands. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right.
That's all you needed, right?
Yep.
Yeah, don't do that today. You will be a statistic. More than
Yeah.
You're
crazy if you do it, and you're crazy if you pick someone up who's out there.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are you drinking there now? What did you switch to there, Dave?
Oh, I switched to Tomavi Pivo by Kane Brewing. This is called Hollow Sea.
Yep.
It's got a nice a little bit of smokiness to this one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, a little bit of smoky too.
It's just I don't think it was.
No, it's not smoked.
It's not smoked. It's not intentional, but it's not an off flavor by any means either. It's just what you're getting out of the roastiness.
And I'm sure in comparison to the Kolsch I was drinking with the Tettinger hops.
Oh hell yeah! No,
the roasts come off.
I was going to say that it's going to be much more prevalent to your taste buds.
So,
Tony, did you open another beer?
Not a beer, but I am going to have something. I was backwards here. Right?
Yeah.
So this is the mead I've been making up at the farm.
You've been making mead up at the farm. Very nice.
Making a lot of mead, yeah.
Very nice.
Which what a maker of mead is known as a mazer. So,
Mazer.
So I am actually a mazer. I've been doing it a couple of years, and
see, I've always called Sergio other things, but Mazer will work or two, I guess.
Matt's called Sergio a couple things too.
yeah, Sergio over at Melavino, right?
Yeah.
So we on the farm where we have, it's called the Oasis Farm, and there is a disc golf course there, and it's being developed into a destination.
Did you say disc golf course or a disco of course?
Disc golf.
It's
a disco, of course.
The disco, of course.
Take a disco nap.
Yes, I got the bear that pairs with shaking it off.
There you go.
So we actually just got, after quite a few years of attempting to persuade the authorities, just got the approval for a brewery to break ground on a brewery at the farm.
Very nice.
So the owner, Dan Doyle, who's the disc golf maven, has got a brewer lined up. His name's Charlie Holmgren, and who's been in the beer circles mostly. I think he was originally out of Ramsey, now he's in Warwick, New York. But I'll be making the mead. He'll be making the beer, and everyone's invited when it opens. Hopefully, 2024 sometime.
I will be up there with bells on, as with
Dave. I'll probably leave the bells at home though.
I'll bring mine. That'll be enough.
You bring yours.
Right.
I'll leave my bells at home. I will wear pants though.
There you go. Well, this is where you have to see. You got to be on the ball. If you have the sound effects right at your fingertips, you have to hit the rim shot when you're ready.
Yeah, but there was nothing there that required a rim shot.
I will make sure I'll be wearing pants. That was.
I don't know. That's really quite a rim shot.
It's definitely a rim shot.
I don't know. I don't know if it deserves the rim shot.
Actually, pants are optional.
Pants are optional. Oh, okay. Now that was the rim shot.
Yeah, I was going to say. Now I missed that one because I was going for my beer. Like, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
This is our first time using sound effects, Tony. So that cheer you came in.
This will be the last time we're using them this way.
Very
quite on it. So,
because we like. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with any other, or the other maybe the two of this Jersey, the beach
Beach Beaters, right near me.
Yeah,
Yes, in Lynch.
Yeah, I went to the
yeah, they're making some stuff.
I went to the National Mead Makers Conference last year because I'm not pro yet, but I could get there, and so I went down and I volunteered because it was cheaper. And it's one of the place, and the guy they've got for the manager, no, he's got a better title than that. That's the CEO. No, they're not the CEO.
Sure,
Whatever
I'm
it
sure
is, president of the organization.
I'm sure he's not.
No, he's not the president. He is the the guy that
he's the guy in charge. He's the
that makes stuff happen. And
I'm sure he's not a knight though.
It's a part-time job for him. But anyway, I know this guy. I forgot his name right now, but he used to work for Weyerbacher.
Sure. Yeah.
He was.
A few people that actually used to work for Weyerbacher.
Yeah.
Hey, they're back.
Yeah.
Anyway,
thankfully.
so it turned out I knew a lot of people from like homebrewing and beer that are now in the mead area. There's about 350 meaderies in the country, I guess. So it's a up and coming thing. I like it.
Definitely up and coming thing. I mean,
I love it.
Sergio's meads are just ridiculous, right?
So
I mean,
good.
they're just
So
I mean, they're
prices.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've
They're
got
little-
actually,
a small
I like his,
fortune to meet over there.
He really got into doing a lot of session meads, which I like.
Yep. The
one I'm
session meads,
drinking right now
everything's
is-
like either a 5% mead or a 14% mead. That's what he makes. He makes
this
5%
is,
meads and 14% meads, and that's
This
it.
is a 7%. We
Okay.
in addition to a hop field we have at the farm, we have a berry garden. So this has goji berries and gumi berries.
Ooh,
which,
goji and gooey.
Gooey.
Gumi.
Now-
Gumi, yeah.
Gooey,
They're
yeah,
like
they're
a
not
little
gooey.
berry.
Gooey.
Okay.
Every berry is gooey if it sits for a
Okay,
while.
so
right?
so
But
John,
it's like
Gumi.
Gumi. So for the next
Gumi.
show, we have our tags under our names.
goji and gumi. Right.
Well, we're actually kind of Dan. He's kind of he likes mead, so that's why we started making it.
Yeah.
We have also gooseberries, so he wants to make a goji gumi gooseberry mead,
A triple G. Nice.
And then we're just going to call it Hoochie Goochie Goji Gumi Goose Berry Mead.
That's that should be a song.
And if you can order it,
you say Gitchy Gumi? I mean, that's
on the shores of Gitchy Gumi.
Yeah.
Wait a second, that's the record of Edmund Fitzgerald.
Well, the Gitchy Gumi is Lake Superior.
Yeah, I know that, but that's
he keeps saying Getchy Gumi. I didn't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, that's from most people know from Edmund Fitzgerald.
Edmund Fitzgerald, yeah.
Which I drank one of those on the show 2 weeks ago.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. And I have not been to Gitchy Gumi.
I have seen Gitchy Gumi.
I've flown over Gitchy Gumi. I've been about 40 miles away from Gitchy Gumi, but I've not been to Lake Superior. So.
No, I've not been to Lake Superior. No, yeah, you were closer because you were in Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I've been
a little bit north of
Minneapolis, buried and trying to make sense of this book project. And so you guys tell me what's going on in New Jersey these days.
There is
because I'm sure you haven't heard anything, Tony. So.
Well, I got a couple of local breweries that I have to keep.
Well, clearly you know what's going on with the state, right?
Yeah.
Of course. So I honestly think, though, that it's a lot. There's a lot to shake out, and with the governor getting involved and everything else right now, I really think that he hasn't
done anything yet. All he's
could
done
go. I know they've got these. Okay, they've got these draconian laws, about what tasting rooms can do, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But none of them. Nobody's paying attention to the rules, and I know guys up here. At least maybe I shouldn't be saying this on air, but they're like, all right, you come and bust me, and then we'll see what happens, because there'll just be a big outcry,
Oh, sure. And
that
then
might be the way to handle this thing. Every brewery just say, okay, we're going to do what we want to do, and arrest us all.
That's what I see happening.
Well, it's not about arresting, right? It's about fining. It's about money.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Money. They'll just fine them rather than arrest them. So that's probably not a good
but
thing.
then there's going to be a huge social media outcry. And
there's a huge social media outcry right now, mostly led by Snort and Scott Wells. Their latest post about their Jersey iteration of Jersey Strong is very strong in its wording. As a matter of fact, so proud of him taking on the state the way he is. He's got a lot of people following him, a lot of people supporting him. Al Gattuso has challenged the governor to come on air and speak to him about it,
which will never happen.
But there's a lot of pressure coming.
We've put it out here too. Come on the show. Yeah. Tell us everything. We'll get a panel. The two of us, Scott, Al, and the governor. Let's go.
What could go wrong?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Wow. That'd be a lot of fun, actually.
I want to be a fly on the wall on that.
You and Al would wind up as the voices of reason, which is kind of scary.
We had some stories. We had some stories in the paper back in the 90s where Pennsylvania was particularly bad. Maybe it still is, but they raided a beer dinner there back in the 90s.
Really?
In Emmaus, and the guy it was so popular. He used a barn adjoining the restaurant to host the beer dinners because so many people wanted to go, and he got raided and they confiscated all his beer. They said he didn't have a liquor license for his barn, only for the restaurant, and then they also busted him for illegally importing a beer from out of state, which was the Dull Still Knocked, and he got it from DC. He got it from a guy down in DC, and so and they threatened to arrest people,
and it's a shame. I mean, it really is. That's what 30 years ago. Well, not 20. 20 years
ago. 25 years ago at least.
Right, but yeah, no, I mean. Come on already. I mean, look at what just look at what every other state in the country is doing, and look at what's happening in all these. Look at the jobs it creates. Look at the revenue it creates. Look at the influx of people, destination wise, to those areas from out of state that wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for the breweries. But it can't happen in New Jersey. No. Not
well,
here.
I think I do think the governor is right about one thing, is that the liquor laws are archaic.
Yes,
in New Jersey, and then you got the whole licensing thing, which is a whole different can of worms, right? So, well, I know. I guess that's part of it. That's why there's so much opposition to the tasting rooms. Of course. For the guys that paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars for liquor.
But see, here's my thing with that, though, Tony, and I've said this before numerous times on the show, but I'll ask you this really quick. First of all, let's see if we agree on this point. The majority, certainly not all right, I'm not saying all, but the majority, a good majority of the license holders in the state, liquor license holders in the state, New Jersey, that have paid an exorbitant amount of money for their licenses, all right, welcome craft beer. They work with the breweries. They have multiple taps. They bring New Jersey beer in. They work with that way, all right? A large majority of the ones that are the opposition, certainly not all, but a large majority of the license holders that are in opposition of the craft breweries are the license holders that their great-grandfather paid $500 for the license. All right? See what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I do.
And on top of that, I'll give you this one better. This is my argument too.
Now they look at it as, what is that liquor license worth now?
Right.
So, rather than
it's right, but they didn't. Right, I know what it's worth, but they didn't invest that money. Their great grandfather invested $500 in 1933. That was it. Right. So, but here's my other two things, really quick. One, or two, I should say. Whatchamacallit? I know you have whoever it is who I'm, speaking to, if you will, spent $500,000 on your liquor license. Now that liquor license at the moment appreciates. It gets more valuable. As time goes on, it gets more valuable. So you invested $500,000. If nothing changes, you can make in 10 years, you can make $1 million on top of that. All right. But how much did your stove cost? Your stove cost you what? $2,000, $3,000? My stove cost me $500,000. And the day it was put on the truck to be delivered to me, it cost less than that. You know,
it depreciates real quickly.
It was worth less than that. So that's an argument there. And then my other thing is too, it's an analogy. I love this analogy, and I really want to get this analogy out there. I really want it to get populated. But restaurants getting upset that breweries want to have food, and certainly not even necessarily offer food, just coordinate with food trucks, whatever, mind you, whatever. Breweries or restaurant license holders that are upset that breweries want to serve food isn't apples to apples. It's the same thing as Staples getting upset that CVS sells notebooks.
Yeah, I mean,
that's apples to apples.
Yeah, I know. I agree with. I just, I mean, I didn't go up here. I moved here, and I thought this whole thing is fucked up. You know,
yeah, big time. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
How do you solve it? Is the question. It's like they talked about giving like tax breaks to.
Tax breaks is the only way. If you're going to change it, the only that I can think of anyway. I've been thinking about this for years. The only way to do it is tax breaks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put a value on the license and give those tax breaks specifically to that business until however long it takes, 10 years, whatever. Give those tax breaks till that is paid off. Then and offer them whatever the actual new license would cost, whether it's $1,000 a year or $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000 a year. They get free licensing.
Yeah, there's another something that maybe you might have a comment on, but so once they've got the license, you know, if it's handed down or if they bought it, whatever,
right?
That's it. Are there annual fees like with a brewer's license? I mean, you have an annual fee every year, right?
Right. Well, it would be the same thing. Like, could take New York for instance, right? New York, the SLA in New York. They have different levels of licensing. You can have a beer and wine, and beer, wine, and spirits, right?
Right.
So, beer, I know I'm going back years, so I'm sure it's different by now, but it's a small amount of money, right? I mean, it's like $1,200 a year, or $1,200 for 2 years if it's just beer, which is why you see cans of beer for sale in dollar slice pizza places in New York City.
Right.
You know. Clearly, if they had to pay $500,000 for a liquor license, they wouldn't be selling beer in dollar slice pizza, right?
Yeah, and you can get some pretty good pizza at those places too.
Great pizza at those places, and it's also why Dwayne Reed has growler
stations. You know,
sure. It's also why Dwayne Reed has growler fill stations. You know, you know. So it would be the same kind of thing. It would be an annual permit. It's not a license anymore. It's a permit. You know. So you know, what do you want to do? You want to just sell beer? Okay, it's this. You want to sell beer and wine? It's this. You want to sell beer, wine, and spirits? You want to sell it to consume in house? You want to just sell it packaged to go? All different license level structures or whatever. And I'm sure New York's going to be New Jersey. You'll probably be based on what's been going on. Might be a little more expensive than what New York is, but whatever. It's still more in line of what the majority of the rest of the United States is doing. It's not what has been going on in New Jersey for that. But you know, at that point, you're gonna generate so much more revenue in the state because you're going to be able to have these other bars open up, however they're going to open up, and have that revenue coming in. Also, one might say, okay, well, that's other competition for these license holders. Okay, well, they're not license holders anymore. They're getting tax breaks to get that money back. Now it's just regular competition. It's like opening a pizzeria in the same town as another pizzeria. What are you going to do? You're not a monopoly. You can't be a monopoly in your town. That's illegal to be a monopoly. So stop thinking that way. You got to get out of that mindset, right? And also, whatchamacallit? What I was going to say is the other thing I wanted to was actually before my other analogy was, think about this for a second. Restaurant license holders are mad. They don't want breweries that don't pay, don't have a license like that, to have events, right? They don't trivia. They don't want music or anything like that because they don't have a liquor license. All right. Well, what about the restaurants, the BYOB restaurants out there? They don't have a liquor license, and they still have trivia. They still have music. Shouldn't they be upset with them too? Why is it just beer? Why is only beer? Why is that only beer?
Yeah. Well, we all know the New Jersey Restaurant Association is a powerful organization.
I'm off my soapbox now. I'm going to put my other beer while you guys.
Okay. So, what's the John, your place is coastal, huh? I got to get down there.
Well, he doesn't have a place yet, though. He's working on
it. We're working on it. We're looking at, fingers crossed this fall. Fingers crossed this fall. We have beer out in market. Obviously, we've been contract brewing at Bolero Snort. Mm-hmm. And on that note, though, I'm actually gonna. I just had the Pilsner. Now I'm gonna have our coffee porter. Nautical Twilight.
I've still got a couple of those left.
There you go. We actually brewed it with Turnstile Roasters, Coffee Roasters coffee, right over here in Belmar. But yeah, we're looking at. Fingers crossed, we should be able to be open by sometime this fall, which is perfect for me because there's a lot of beers that I want to put out in the fall. So that works perfect. Timing.
That's when the browns come out. We start getting the winter ales, holiday ales. It's a beautiful time.
You guys will both be enjoying a lot of really, really, really good, fall and winter beers.
Darker, fuller beers.
Darker, fuller. Beers.
We got a couple of new ones in Bergen County. 5 Dimes, you probably heard of.
5 Dimes, yeah.
We had them on the show.
I mean,
good friends with Chris.
I wasn't really, blown away by their beers. I was up there last week, and that brown ale, I know this was like a good brown ale.
Yeah. Oh, and they were at the festival that Steve Rogers had brought up, and they brought their peppermint porter with them. Mm-hmm. And I was actually I don't like peppermint beers, and I was quite impressed with that.
Very, very, very good.
It's quite pepperminty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pepperminty.
Well, the bartender told me they screwed up a couple of lines because they had the peppermint porter on it, and it's like, oh, the next beer had this peppermint taste,
taste to it,
and then behind the back, the brewer, somebody, I don't know who it was, he said they switched the line, they screwed up another line.
Oh no, I mean that's not as bad as when Carton put out blue milk and stained everybody's lines.
Stained everybody's lines. Yeah,
that's a good one.
Which is why it never was released again, by the way. So
the other good new one you have up there is Gear Block.
Gear Block, yeah. I met both of these places. I've met Neil Acer at, the Defiant OG, and Gear
I know
Block
him. I know him.
Yeah. The beers at Gear Block. I went there on right after Christmas, a couple of days after Christmas, I think.
Okay.
And beers are very good. And then I found out why at the Snowfest, because one of the guys in the picture, Mark Smader, he was the brewing partner with Chris Sheehan at Chelsea.
At Chelsea, yeah.
So those guys have been brewing a long time, and Mark knows his stuff. And
Mark does know his stuff, as does Chris. And Chris, of course, worked for Defiant too before.
He did have a period there, yeah. He's at Ghost Hawk now.
He's a Ghost Hawk. Yeah, he's been a Ghost Hawk since they opened. But but Chris at 5 Dimes, he actually his head brewer right now. He's on his second head brewer because the other one just left the business. He got a little burnt out. But his new head brewer actually used to work at Lawson's. He was brewing. He was brewing up in Vermont. Yeah.
Yep. That's what a great place to learn, right?
Right.
You're definitely going to learn how to utilize hops at Lawson's.
Right.
So I remember at Brewsology, Gear Block was there as well, and frankly, for me, other than of course the coastal stuff, the beer that really stood out for me, believe it or not, was Gear Block's Kolsch. And for a Kolsch to really stand out at a beer festival, that's a damn good Kolsch.
Yeah.
In
the winter time.
In the winter, even. And I was just so impressed with that Kolsch. It was such a good beer. So yeah, you've got those 2 new ones up there. And Bergen County's got they've got a pretty nice selection of breweries now between.
It was a long time coming up here. I got 3 in my backyard here. Hackensack, Limetree, and Brick City.
Yeah.
I can't believe that think the newest one of those three just turned 4 years old. Hackensack.
Hackensack, yeah.
Yeah, 4. Wow.
4, yeah. We were just at the. We went up before
Bruisology.
Bruisology. We went up there for the.
Yeah, they pre-gamed the beer festival at Hackensack.
We did.
So
we did.
Okay.
We did.
Yeah. Well, that's I guess that's not too far from Bolero Store, right? I mean,
they're not that far. No.
No, about 10 minutes with no traffic. So
I mean,
about
Brick
25,
City,
25 minutes.
Brick City, you could just cut through the airport there, Teterboro. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bolero Snort is probably the second closest brewery to me. The closest brewery to me is Jersey Beer Company.
Sure.
Okay.
They're not far at all. We could
and they're
walk
still
there.
going, huh?
They're still going. Their beers actually. I mean, the first time I tasted their beer, I was not all that pleased or happy with it. It's gotten better. It's definitely gotten better.
They went through a few iterations.
They went through a lot of iterations.
Yes,
sure.
they did.
They did.
I mean, we could walk there. The problem is we'd be walking downhill to get there, which
and then
means
uphill to walk home.
Right. And that's a steep hill back up the Palisades. So it's not happening. Not walking.
I saw on Channel 12 News today that they're trying to make an official designation for Central Jersey.
Yeah,
they are.
Which is funny because the people from North Jersey don't get it. The people from South Jersey don't get it. For those of us who grew up in Central Jersey, we're like, finally.
But you know what, though? I got to tell you.
I never knew exactly where Central Jersey was because it could cover a wide area.
I don't like the way
they did it. There's no way Union. Elizabeth, New Jersey is not in Central Jersey.
No, it is not. That is North
That's in Union. Yeah, I was surprised at Union. Yeah.
Union County is not Central Jersey.
For me, Central Jersey is the Raritan to Route 70.
Yeah.
That's Central Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. You go to Raritan River and just draw a line straight across. Forget about county lines. Just draw a line straight across, and then go to Route 70 straight across. That's Central Jersey. And you can't even
go back to the argument about when you just had North and South Jersey, then you knew it was pork roll or Taylor ham or something.
Right, exactly.
But the thing is, in Central Jersey, you call it both. But if you look historically at New Jersey originally started off as East New Jersey and West New Jersey. So the North New Jersey, the line went down
from
the middle.
Warren County down to Atlantic City, and
that's probably kind of a more accurate divider. Now that I think of it.
Yeah, because and it depends if you got to start off like you said up in Warren County and come down to maybe the Monmouth or
no, you go south.
The Amboys. I don't think you go more south than that for that. I don't know because again you've got that pork roll.
I'm talking about pork roll. I'm also talking about Philly too.
But that's the other thing.
Philly.
I'm also talking the Philly and New York separation as well. Where the Eagles fans are and where the Giants fans are.
Jersey Shore, down by Cape May and stuff.
Well, it makes sense.
Philly,
the Central Jersey thing actually does work if you go Route 70 because that's, for the most part, obviously everybody up north is, a New York sports fans, and everybody below Route 70 is Philly sports fans. But in that Central Jersey area, you kind of have both.
Yeah,
the more west you are, more Philly, the more east you are. But in that kind of, it's
the way.
So South Jersey was rooting for Philly in the Super Bowl.
Absolutely,
for the most part, yeah.
Up here in North Jersey, I couldn't find one person that was.
Everyone's rooting for the Chiefs.
Not really.
They weren't rooting for the Chiefs. They're rooting against
Philly.
Right.
Rooting against. Well, the one thing I looked at, the way I always put it, growing up, if you could tune in WNEW and WMMR both as clearly as you were in Central Jersey. Mm-hmm. If CBS was both channels 2 and 10 to you, ABC was 6 and 7, and NBC was 3 and 4, then you were in Central Jersey.
You're in Central Jersey.
If you knew both of the channels, you were in Central Jersey.
Right. That makes sense. Right. But that's gone now because that's gone
because the internet's destroyed it.
40. Well, that's gone for 40 years now with cable.
Cable. And then iHeartRadio comes around, and you can get AEW and NMR, and none of them are playing classic rock anymore. I don't even know what NMR plays.
I'd like to get you guys, just to bring it back to beer a little bit.
Beer.
That's right.
What were the first New Jersey breweries that kind of had an influence on you?
On us?
That is a really good question. That's never been popular.
Nobody's asked us that. Thank you very much, Sir Tony, for asking.
Well, like I say, I'm back in the 90s. I don't know where you were in the 90s, but
I know where I was in the 90s.
Doesn't matter what, it could be 2000s, but first.
First beer. I was just getting out of college.
So you're drinking
in
hard.
the early 90s, maybe.
A lot of drinking in college. First New Jersey brewery that impacted me, because the first actual.
I mean, guys like Ramstein and Climax were some of the first, and then there were a couple of brew pubs as well, Triumph and the Ship Inn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of those.
Flying Fish came along a little bit later.
Yeah.
Later.
And then River Horse after them.
Mm-hmm.
That is a really
There were some failures like Mile Square in Hoboken.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good question, because most of the breweries that impacted me were well out of state. And, we've been asked a couple times what was the first brewery we ever visited. And I'm pretty certain the first brewery I ever visited was Weyerbacher. So that's just outside.
Yeah.
And, Weyerbacher definitely had an influence on my early beer education.
Sure.
But Jersey breweries, there was a reason New Jersey had one of the best importations of beer from other states than any other state.
Well, there really wasn't. I mean, we
didn't have a lot.
We didn't have a lot.
Yeah, that's true. No,
early on,
we used to have the
Ramstein
promos
and Climax.
at Andy's Corner Bar, and it was a lot of Pennsylvania.
And you still get a pretzel with every beer.
That's right.
Yeah. So, the first time I ever had a Ramstein Winter Wheat was at Andy's.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time I ever had a Ramstein Winter Wheat was at Andy's. Sure.
Yeah, he's always had it.
But
I was saying there was more bars that had influence on me than anything. And Tony, you know this place more than anyone would have been the. And it's appropriate we bring it up on Mardi Gras, because they would bring in kegs from England, and then have cask days. And I'm blanking on their name. They're a Blackthorn restaurant now, or
the Old Bay.
The Old Bay. Old Bay.
Yeah, Chris Limetree. Yeah, he was definitely pursued the.
So mentioning the Old Bay and Mardi Gras, that feels just right to me.
Well, that's right. Yeah. I mean, they were a New Orleans style restaurant, and Chris Limetree ran the bar, and he was on the cutting edge of getting whatever he could. And
sure.
Yes,
he brought in 2 years in a row. I think he brought in the cask from Fuller's in England.
Mm-hmm.
And the second year, Sir Anthony Fuller showed up. He's got a real knighthood.
With a sword and everything.
Everything, right.
And
lost a little bit of ear.
Yeah. I mean, who's doing real cask conditioned beer now? It's hard to find.
Well, that's one not to change the subject to that. We will definitely be putting in a cask engine. So
yeah, okay.
We will definitely
Brick City just put one on.
They did. They did. Yep.
It's like it's 24/7 or whenever they're open.
When they're open, yeah. But I would say brewery wise for myself, I definitely had some Ramstein early on. Heavyweight.
Yeah, they were later.
Back in the day, they were a little later. Flying Fish when they opened, but I would say brewery wise, as far as enveloping myself in the brewery. All right. Would obviously I worked for them too, would obviously be Cricket Hill. Rick opened in, it was 01 when he opened, but 02 by the time he opened his doors.
Yeah.
But,
mm-hmm.
But yeah, Flying Fish for New Jersey, I think, was probably the first brewery in New Jersey that I had an acute awareness of. Love the Exit series they did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that came later, but they had the label, the cachet. They were the first brewery that got invested on the internet. That was their claim to fame, was they were able to get investors, through a virtual site before they had a brewery. And I don't know what percentage of investment it was, but it was they got a name for themselves before they launched and everything, just by being savvy and getting on the internet. Nobody else really knew how to deal with it at that time.
Right. I was definitely aware of everything going on in New Jersey because I was drinking. I was getting my hands on everything that I could, back in the 90s, in the late 80s too.
Yeah, definitely late 80s.
But as far as actual breweries in New Jersey, there wasn't this, there weren't these back then, there weren't, there wasn't as much of this. So it's not like I could just go Google, hey, where are breweries in New Jersey? I want to go this weekend. It didn't happen, right? So
in the 90s, we had a 2-page directory.
Right.
There was a
pull-out. Oh no, believe me, I was on it. I was reading L Street News back then.
I mean, it was the most popular part of my paper for sure,
right? But that's
getting there. And most of what we knew about beer was going into the liquor stores that had carried, either your imports or the what craft beer did get in to the state at the point.
Right.
We've mentioned Pete's Wicked many times, Black and Voodoo Lager. Right. Obviously, Sam Adams was the first thing to hit the consciousness.
Remember New Amsterdam?
New Amsterdam, of course.
Yeah. I used to buy that because it was like 50 cents cheaper. I mean, to me, it tasted like Sam Adams lager.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they were actually designed by the same guy, Joe Oates.
Yeah, and when they resurrected it for that 1 year, that one release, it's like it still tastes like Boston lager.
Heavyweight. So did you ever drink the Two Druids ale?
Two Druids, yeah. My favorite.
You know who the Two Druids were, right?
Do I?
Is that?
Oh, go ahead.
No, it was Tom Baker, obviously the brewer, and me.
Tom Baker, yeah, and you were the other one. Oh,
I was the other one.
I didn't.
He had a really great idea
that I didn't know.
That if he invited beer writers to make a beer with him, he'd get a lot of press. So the first one was Lou Bryson.
Genius.
He made that Rocuno's Hammer porter.
Right.
That was and then he asked me if I would not. I said sure, and I was sort of researching these herbal gruit ales at the time, so I was like, let's do one of those, and yeah, we made a few batches of it. Well, I made the first batch with him, but
I remember having the beer. I didn't know you were one of the two. I was unaware.
Yeah.
There you go.
Very nice.
Very nice. Hit it. What? Come on! You're missing your.
I like doing it myself.
And then they had other guys. Kurt Epps, who was a beer writer.
Oh yeah, I remember Kurt Epps.
Did a beer with Tom, and then more famously probably was Bill Coleman, who did the Salty Dog cartoon.
Salty Dog, yeah.
For us, did a pretty well known barley wine. It's called Old Salty. Anyway.
Old Salty was very good. My favorite beer that Tom brewed was Stick and Jab.
That was the Kurt Epps beer. It was because he was like a sort of boxer guy.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite. Stick and Jab was my favorite. In fact, I might have told you this story. Maybe I didn't, but I'll make it brief because I know I've said it on the show before. But my cousin comes over, probably 2013, 2014. We're sitting at home, Jess and I, and there's a knock on a Friday night, 9:30. Knock on the door. You expect anybody? Nope. Go to the door. It's my cousin. He's got both his hands behind his back. Right. Now it's 2013, 2014, right? He's just smiling. I said, what's up? He goes, just smile at me. I'm like, you okay? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what's going on? He pulls out a 2006 Dark Lord. All right.
Whoa.
So now it's like 7-8 years old, that beer, right? Just no variant, just the actual, Russian Imperial. And then he's got his other hand behind his back and pulls out a 2004 Stick and Jab. So this beer is like 10 years old, Stick of Alt. And it was every bit as good, if not better, than it was when it was fresh.
Cool. No, wow.
So it was so good.
Well, I could go down and get a beer. Somebody forgot about it. It's the Ramstein Eisbock.
Oh, the Eisbock.
It was taken from a growler, and then I put. Well, I couldn't drink into a Grolsch bottle, and still got it. So I don't know if it's still good. It's kind of like a one-off thing, but he got up to 15% this year because he froze it over that cold snap over Christmas, and it was like really cold.
We were actually, Dave and I were supposed to go up and do the day he released it, and we were both booked with other stuff that Saturday, so we couldn't get up there.
Yeah, I made it up there. He didn't do it last year.
He didn't do it last year. No, he didn't.
Yeah. So
Greg was on the show in, was it August? He was on the show in August.
Okay.
beers on.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
then we talked about it after that. But Dave and I, Greg and I were at a couple beer fests after that. We were talking about it in
he was at Bruisology.
He was at Bruisology, but we were talking about it like back in October. I think we were at a Central Jersey Beer Fest. We were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, yeah, no, so yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I like talking about OG stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Whenever
yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, you know, what else we got to talk about? We're in the twilight of our. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know what the sunset years are or the golden years. I think I'm in the bronze years or something like that.
Oh well, that's what you just use.
I'm in the rust years. I know that.
Use some SPF and you'll get a nice bronzing.
Right, there you go.
That's so good.
No, but the thing is, we're the one thing, and it's not to like really toot our own horns here, but we're in the unique position of seeing when it started and seeing all the new that's coming out. Like when we talked to Greg Zaccardi about the New Jersey beer laws, he had a very interesting take on it, because his take was, hey, when I started off, the rules were worse.
Mm-hmm.
They've gotten better. So
they're better than they had.
Yeah. So he had that. So we have all this to go on as to where it started. I mean, a lot of the styles that people now take for granted that are just there, and there's some people that even think that if it's not a particular style, it's not craft beer, like your hazy IPAs. Mm-hmm. We come from a time when those things didn't exist.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greg, I go up to Ramson quite a bit, and he says, yeah, when I started trying to sell Hefeweizen, it's like I couldn't sell it because the guy said, "What's wrong with your beer? It's hazy." And he's like, now you can't sell it unless it's hazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But I think it's really kind of neat looking back on everything that we've seen happen, everything that's coming up, all the new breweries, the constant, this constant thing where breweries want to try to invent styles, come up with the next big thing, and some of the stuff is I don't know, in my eyes some of it's just absolute silliness. I really wish we'd go into a lactose shortage one of these days.
That would be nice. That would be very that would be nice.
Yeah, but so the natural reaction to that is just going back to lagers, I guess. Like, I mean, there's
which
like,
is why
I hear like in Denver,
like,
there's like all lager breweries.
Have you been to Cohesion?
Cohesion.
No, in Denver, is it?
In Denver, yeah.
No, I haven't been out there for a while.
Well, what about the shirt you're wearing, John?
Grist House in Pittsburgh.
Okay,
yeah, they're one of the best beers. I mean, they make a lot of different styles, right? They're very similar, kind of the same mindset as like we're kind of fixing to do, if you will, right? But one of the best beers, as far as I'm concerned, that they make is a dark English mild. It is one of the best dark English milds that I've really honestly ever had, and it's from a brewery in Pittsburgh, Grist House, right? So, so well brewed, and its the name of it is London Crawling. So, right?
London Crawling.
Yeah.
Not crawling. Yeah.
We're all crawling, yeah. But
hey guys, I actually have to.
Well, before we let you go, let's we got our top 3 list. Actually, let's throw that up there. Put that up here. Right
how this works.
Top 3 list tonight is top 3 favorite Louisiana beers. We're going to do tonight. It is Mardi Gras, right?
Okay.
So I'm sure this is going to be a beta heavy, but we'll work it out. Top 3 favorite Louisiana beers. Tony, if you can rattle them off, you can go first. If not, we will, and then you.
Okay, I got 2. Boy, I'm trying to think of the breweries. I got 2 out of 3, maybe. I'm gonna go with a Turbo Dog.
Turbo Dog's a great beer.
That's a damn good beer. Yes,
one of the early stars, and then
that's an Abita.
Anything from that I respect because they were the first brew pub in New Orleans, Crescent City Brewery.
Never had anything from them.
Well, I don't think they distribute really that much.
Yeah,
they just
it's a brew.
And then there was a very good brewery that I had at events like not Jib. Well, maybe the beer tasting events and stuff like that. But name's escaping me.
Is it NOLA?
NOLA's one of the bigger ones. So
NOLA. I think it was Louisiana something. But anyway, so.
All right. Well, if it comes to you while Dave is going, pop it up.
Feel free to.
Wait. La Binchoise in Belgium.
I thought they were in Belgium. You said they were in Belgium. I was paying attention.
But they have a Mardi Gras beer.
They have a Mardi Gras beer.
They were in a Mardi Gras town.
Okay, we'll accept that.
There you go.
In this Mardi Gras town, do they also the masks they have? Do they also have masks from Carnival? Do they consider Carnival part of Mardi Gras?
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, there's they have masks from South America.
Nice.
Asia.
I was actually thinking about going to get like a big head, and just wearing it on the podcast all night. Just
yeah.
Oh, well, you Lou Corso.
Exactly. Corso, yeah. So. All right, Dave, what are your three?
So my three
beads. Where are my beads?
Hold on.
Don't. Please don't. This is not the right piece of paper. This is my to-do list for work. Okay, that's going to do that. Oh, here it is. So mine is, like John said, kind of a beta heavy, but also NOLA heavy. And NOLA, most people, NOLA stands for New Orleans, Louisiana, but for them, it's New Orleans Lagers and Ales is what NOLA actually stands for that brewery. And I don't have 3. I actually have 5.
Well, you can throw one over here. So
throw one to Tony.
Andy Gator. Andy Gator's Abita's Doppelbock.
Yeah.
That is did I just take one of yours, John?
You have 5, and the fucking first one you do is one of mine.
The next one from Abita is Bourbon Street Coffee Stout. And I don't know if I liked the beer as much as I thought I liked the beer, but I was drinking it in Bourbon Street Jazz Club in Nashville, on Painter's Alley, Printers Alley. Printers Alley or Painters? I can never get that one right. It's Printers or Painters?
Painters.
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 Oh, yeah.
Right.
And it's just a really neat place to hang out. They've got so many different ethnic bars. There's a great British pub there. But this bourbon, oh my god, this jazz and blues club is phenomenal. They get some really great talent in there. So it may have been the venue more than the beer, but that's where I had it. It was fantastic. The other 3 are from NOLA. Irish Channel, with St. Patrick's Day coming up, Irish Channel is their Irish stout, and this just such a really, really good stout. But what I really appreciate from NOLA are their sour beers. They do some really great sours. There was a cinnamon cranberry one they did in the Wharfside series with the number 6 in it that was really good. But Piety is the sour cherry pie ale they do. That was one of the years I was down at Hunapoo. That was my favorite beer of that particular Hunapoo. That was really, I think, that was a great beer. Really good beer. So hopefully, John, I only stole one of yours.
What was your? I totally must have glossed right over it because you were saying it like it was just in passing. What was your second one from NOLA?
Second one from NOLA is from the Harborside series, and it's right Harborside, Wharfside series number 6.
Wharfside number 6.
Yeah, cranberry, cinnamon, and hibiscus. So you can imagine this beer was a little bit on the reddish, pinkish side.
You think? There you go. All right. So mine are, I'll give you them straight away. They're all Abita. Look, they're all Abita. Number 3 is Andy Gator, since he already took it. My number 2 is Bourbon Street Barrel Aged Imperial Stout, the regular Imperial Stout.
Yep.
Okay. And my number 1 is Bourbon Street Mint Julep Stout.
Ooh, never had that one.
Delicious. Amazing.
So just aged in mint in bourbon barrels.
They aged it in bourbon barrels with mint. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
that I can see.
Those are mine. So there you go.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, all right. Look, I know you got to go. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Talk about really quick before you go. Talk about Limetree Roadside Pub when you're getting going back up and you're getting up there in the.
Yeah, we'll be firing up the pop up there for probably once I get back from the Ensenada Beer Festival, once there's no threat of frost, I can fire up my trailer, and then
right, of course,
and then we'll be we'll see when the ground starts getting broken and breweries start popping up like a mushroom. And it's Warwick, New York. You got the website. So
I'll throw the website up there again. It's www.limetreeroadsidePubCafe.com.
After that, I got to give a plug for the Mondial de la Bière.
Mondial, when is Mondial?
It's May 18th to 21st in Montreal, and they're going to have a great lineup. I have recruited with the help of Vermont Beer Shepherd, who's a beer distributor in Vermont. But we're not doing Vermont beers this year. We're using some of his stables, Urban Chestnut. I was trying to pull up the list that we have, because there's some really good ones. Hudson Valley is in there.
Like them.
There's a couple of Vermont. There's a guy making really good wild ales in Vermont. We're getting some of those. I mean, Vermont has a ton of breweries, of course.
Oh, amazing.
So, Mondial de la Bière.
That's gonna be a great time.
And what were the dates of that again?
18th to the 21st.
18th to 21st. Yeah, Montreal. You can drive there from North Jersey in 6 hours. From you guys, 7 hours probably.
But
are you guys going out to Nashville? You talking about Nashville for the conference?
I'll be in Nashville. We'll be out there. We're going out. We're hitting Nashville for one day first, and we'll be out in Nashville from Saturday to Friday.
Okay.
So we'll be out there for a while, and then we're going to go north on the way home. We're gonna hit Louisville and go home. So we're gonna get a little stupid in Louisville.
Yeah, because it's right on the way.
Louisville is only 2.5 hours north of Nashville, by the way.
Okay, yeah. But it's a little bit on the west side, so it's a little bit of a swing.
No, not much.
Straight up. No, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm thinking something else.
Which is why we're doing it that way.
Yeah,
we're not flying, we're driving, so we can do that.
Yeah, so. there's you got to you're hitting some of the bourbon distilleries, are you not? I hope.
Mm-hmm.
I may have to Venmo you some money.
There will be no beer that Friday night in Louisville. It'll be all bourbon. So. But long story short, we'll be in Nashville for Saturday to Friday.
Sounds good.
So we'll see you down there, and we're probably getting out to. Are you going out to Denver later on this year?
Probably not. I mean, I did so many years that.
I know. Yeah, we're planning to get. We'll be out there.
Right, what's the dates on that actually?
It's you know what? I'm so confused with dates. There's so many things going on in September and October. It's either the last week in September or the first weekend in October.
All right, so I found my list here of the American beers that are going to be breweries that are going to be at the Mondial. Wunderkammer. That is the one up in Vermont that's doing some really wild stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Urban Chestnut, Hudson Valley, Schilling, also from that's from New Hampshire.
I love Schilling.
Yeah, Schilling.
I love Vitamin C.
You know that from Massachusetts, right?
Yeah.
I really like that beers. Bunker is also.
Oh, Bunker's. John and I both love Bunker.
Well, with Bunker, I could set up shop. I could set up light housekeeping at Bunker.
The machine is just such a good beer.
And then the repeater that we've had for a couple of years now, Lawson's, of course.
When is the trip out to Belgium that you're going?
It is going to be. We're leaving on August 26th. So last week in August. And we come back on the.
All right. GABF this year is September 21st through September 23rd.
Okay, so it's a possibility, but
there you go. So we'll have to talk about it.
Well, Terry and I are thinking of going to Montreal this year, so maybe we'll time it in May.
Maybe time it in May. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, again, thank you for coming on the show, Tony. We really appreciate it. We love it every time you come on the show.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's like OG. It's OG time, right? It's like
if you need someone to fill a spot, I'm here. I'm here.
You got it. We definitely will. But don't go anywhere. Don't sign off just yet. I want to talk to you for a couple seconds after we sign off. But
before you go through the whole thing, Johnny, we do have to mention that we will not have a show next week.
No show next week.
Johnny will be traveling.
Right, leaving. We're going to Asheville for several days. In Richmond on the way down and DC on the way back.
Oh, that sounds really hard.
Yeah, but it's going
to be a chore. I know.
Johnny will be launching.
I'll probably be sitting in Church Key while I'm supposed to be doing the podcast. So, yeah.
which is fine because John and I we like to travel, and oftentimes when we travel, either someone's filling in for me or we're just not doing a show. So we're going to introduce a new feature to the Locker Room Guys, and we haven't figured out what we're calling it yet, have we, John? we'll have to figure that out. Might be Traveling with the Locker Room Guys. It might be the Locker Room Guys Adventures, something like that, where when we are on the road, we may not do the podcast, and it may not be a Tuesday. It won't be a Tuesday at the time, maybe it won't be at the time that we do the podcast, but it'll be us going live as to what is going on.
I mean, okay. Sorry.
Hold that thought. We just had a comment on here from Paolo Pasut. The real question is, when will you be back in Italy?
Paolo. Oh, man, I miss Paolo. Dude got to get back. This Paolo was he was our host at our Airbnb. He hooked us up at a burger joint craft beer bar in Pordenone.
And this is he's writing in from YouTube from Italy at what is it? It's
6 hours. That's 6 hours.
So it's like almost
3
o'clock in the morning, Paolo. What are you doing?
But his his picture may tell you. Look at his profile picture.
Oh, he's up with his
They might. Did they have a new? Did you have a new baby, Paolo? Little sibling for your son there.
There you go. So
looks like Tony needs to go.
Tony's got to go. So anyway, we'll be doing some live shows. And tune into that, so it'll be kind of cool. But anyway, we'll wrap the show up for today. We want to thank everybody for watching. And for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thanks for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.loggerroom.com. That's LEGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and, of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Log Room. Remember, we go live with a video podcast. Dave, you can read this while I'm talking. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on both Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Go ahead. Say it.
Ish.
I mean, what he said.
No, he's still the three of us. So that must be an older picture.
Old picture. There you go. Yes. For those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio as well. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. We will talk to you in a couple of weeks, folks. Take care.
Yep.
Cheers.
Ciao.
I guess he's gone.
And he really had to go.
So,
well, we can continue what we're talking about.
For a second. Yeah,
For a second there. But also, Paolo, really great to hear from you. Hope everything is going well in Pordenone.
Yeah, Paolo.
Miss it there.
We were signing off because of Tony, but since he signed off already, Paolo, it was great having you on the show last year. And the next time one of us is in Italy, hopefully it's me,
hopefully
not Dave, or both, one or the other. But hopefully I'm included.
We'll see. This year the international trip is Ireland. Next year the international trip may very well be München, Praha, and Vienna. But in the next couple of years of that, a return to Italy, because Friuli Veneto, I think I have that in the right order. We just adored it there. And adored Pordenone. Of all the places we visited, I think it was our favorite place to hang out and eat in, drink in. And we ate in a castle in Conegliano.
You gotta love it.
And still.
Paolo said everything okay. I'm assuming. All right. If you're saying everything's okay with you guys, great. We're glad. you're saying everything's okay with us, yeah, everything's fine. We just want to get our asses back to Italy. That's what.
Yes, absolutely. And when next time you see Fabio, tell him let him know we say hi, and let him know that almost every show I go very nice, which is
one of us or both say very nice, which is something he said constantly on the show last week,
which was great. So we channel Fabio quite often on the show. So we'll definitely really cherish the times there. And
if he's going to Moonchin and everything else he's doing next year, it's very, very, very possible that you'll at least see Jess and I at some point next year. So we'll make sure we do that. We'll do the Dave and Kerry trip from last year. We'll fly into Munich, but stay there a couple of days and then come down to Italy.
And I will give you the information to his Airbnb. You need
absolutely
to stay with those.
Well,
guys.
that's foregone conclusion.
That's
staying in that Airbnb, in Paolo's Airbnb.
But what we were talking about earlier, we will have this feature. John and I still haven't figured out exactly what we're naming it yet. We'll figure that out before John. Well, John's leaving in the morning, so we got to figure it out tonight, John. Yeah.
I think what I'm going to do, just to kick it off, is I'm going to take some videos of me at several places, whether they're in Richmond, a few in Asheville, DC,
and maybe not do it live.
And I won't do it live. Maybe if there's something really, really cool, I'll do
There's
it live.
There's going to be something really, really cool.
No. I mean specifically like something you need to see right then that you can't wait like a few days to see. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's something cool, but I can air it next week, fine. But if it's something that's happening that, hey, check this out, I'll do that live. Other than that, I'll record it and I'll make a video of it, like a longer one, edit it together, and then we'll post it next week, and then we'll figure out what we're going to call it at that point.
Well,
and then we can go, and then we can do both. We can do the videos and post it together at different breweries and different places, or we can do live when it needs to be.
Yeah, this is nascent. We'll figure it out as we go along. The one thing I will do live.
Paolo said, consider it done. Yes, absolutely. Go. Thank you, Paolo. You got it.
One of the things that I do promise I will do live, because I want to do this live, because it's going to be a very important moment for me, is when I'm in Ireland. My first Guinness in Ireland.
Oh no, that's a foregone conclusion. Yeah, you definitely have to do that.
Has to be done. Yeah. I will get the bartender in it so that tell him beforehand this is what we're going to do.
No, you're going to start while he's pouring it. You're going live with him pouring it.
Yes,
and
that's the plan.
And then hand the phone to Kerry, and then you're taking the glass and drinking it. So
no, because you got to remember, there's it's 181 seconds. It's got the rest.
601, whatever you got to do it that way.
Yeah, it's got to rest. So we've got to fill some time in there somehow or another, talking about something or another.
Well, interview the bartender.
Yeah, and I think I know where I'm going to do it because it's 19 minutes from the airport, and hopefully I won't kill us between the airport and that place, because I'll be driving on the wrong side of the road in a manual with a stick shift on the wrong side of the car.
Right, exactly.
We're going to get dead.
Yeah, no, I mean, figure that out first, then worry about the Guinness.
I really hope in the parking lot of the airport they have like a practice range for everybody. I'm a little stressed about this.
I think you should. Well, it was just like, the first time I went to Bermuda and I was driving a...
Were you wearing shorts?
Of course.
And
I was wearing shorts, and I was driving a moped, right? Of course, you're in Bermuda, you ride a moped. And now I'm going back 33 years ago, right? But in fact, 33 years ago, right about now. But in any event, because it was in February. It was. It took some doing. I'd be driving down the road on the moped, and I'm on the right side. I'm like, oh shit, and I go over to the left side. So it was interesting.
It's gonna be interesting. Hopefully, I'll get used to it and be able to revert back when I get to the U.S.
And then the first time I had to go around a circle in Bermuda, I had to go around a circle the wrong direction. I had to go clockwise. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? What the hell is this?
Needless to say, this is the one time I've traveled, and for my rental, I actually took the insurance.
Good idea. Good idea.
I'm not that dumb. So you will see one sort of iteration of what we want to do when John travels, and it'll develop from there. But we want to expand out because it's not going to be all drinking.
No, No,
No.
there'll be some other stuff. There'll be food involved. There'll be some other things, music even.
Yeah. It might be me accidentally driving the car off the cliffs of Mohair. Who knows?
Yeah. Paolo said, have a pint for me. Going back to sleep. Have fun. You got it, Paolo. Thank you.
Good night, Paolo.
Fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll be out there next year. We'll get out. We'll have the time to get out there next year. Even with the brewery open, we'll get out there next year.
We'll
keep in touch.
I tell you, I had an Aperol Spritz, a reminder of my trip there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, but you'll see it soon, and do the double bonus if there's any trips where Dave and I are both there.
Yes, and we'll have a plethora of camera people to choose from.
Absolutely, plenty.
Because
no shortage of camera people.
Yeah, because our significant others don't particularly like to be on camera. So,
no.
Yeah,
pictures, yes. Video, no.
But only actually, she doesn't even like to be in the picture sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
So yours does, as long as
you know what I mean. Well, she was in this picture here.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, she was in that one.
And by the way, I didn't mention this before, and I know we've already done the sign off, so we're done, right? And this is like going on for minutes longer. But what should we call it? We have what should we call it? Last, I just want to put this out there, and I know Dave, you're aware of this. Last Wednesday, I had the honor and the privilege of,
and you were supposed to remind me of that, and I was going to come there. You forgot to remind me.
I forgot to remind you. I'm sorry. I forgot to remind myself, to be honest with you. That morning, I was like, "Oh shit, I got to go there." In any event, I had the honor and the privilege of being in the company for a couple of hours, actually, of this man, Kelsey Grammer.
Very nice.
And that was fun. And talking beer. Talking about some stuff with him, but talking beer and genuine guy, knows his stuff about beer, and I don't mean just about it in general, like a layman would for drinking beer. He knows brewing and everything else.
It's a beautiful thing considering
he owns
a beer.
His breweries are pretty solid. Faith American Brewing. His beers are pretty solid, and he was genuinely interested in Coastal Brew Works and everything else we were talking about for several for a while. We were talking about it, but
good.
And he's probably going to be coming on the show too.
As I said, when's he coming on the show?
He's probably going to be coming on the show. Probably late March, early April. He'll be on the show.
That's a beautiful thing.
And he's, by the way, he grew up. You know where he grew up?
No, I don't.
In New Jersey. Thank you.
That was
There you go.
That explains why he's such a cool guy.
There you go.
That's why he's such a hoopy frood.
There you go. Well, cheers to Kelsey Grammer.
Cheers.
Wonderful dude. And you'll be on the show. Cheers to Tony Ford for coming on the show tonight with us.
And Sante de Paolo.
And yeah. Hey, Paolo. Chindan. Or Centani, if you prefer.
Sante.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right.
Anyway. All right. We've dragged it on long enough.
Yeah. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
No. I said that, and then I kind of. Anyway, we dragged it on long enough. Enjoy, everybody. We will talk to you in 2 weeks. Well, you'll see something next week from my trip, but we'll talk to you. Dave and I will speak with you in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Drink a lot of beer, drink responsibly, and we will talk to you soon.
Safe travels, John.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.